Hi, and welcome to Exploring Creativity, episode 3. All right, set intentions. I'm back. It's a Sunday, and I'm back. But I have so much to talk about, I think I might have to add another day. I don't know. I'll keep you posted. But for now, because I had an idea of what I wanted to talk about, and then something else came up that I absolutely need to talk about. So we'll do that, and then, I don't know, see where it goes. So I'm so curious how your interactions with the idea of fear are going. I've been thinking about it so much, and every morning I do this thing from this book called The Artist's Way that I'm sure many of you have heard of, and I'll put the citation down below so those of you who haven't can explore it, because it is really an intense, amazing thing to help open up creativity. But whatever, so every morning I do something called the morning pages, and I write stuff. And so every morning I've been writing and kind of exploring this whole idea of a different kind of relationship with fear. But I haven't finished the contract yet. But it's only been a week, so I don't want to push it. I don't want to this isn't a race. It's a process. So we'll see where you're at. I'll keep sharing where I'm at. But what I want to talk about today was this experience that I actually had yesterday. I was at religious services, and I was sitting I usually sit up in a balcony. I don't know, it's a little quieter, and I can just kind of do my thing, and I like that. So I was sitting in the balcony, and all of a sudden I saw this little girl. She's probably 4 years old, and she was down below, and she was going up to every person and having a little chat and shaking their hand. And then she went on to the next one and she did the same thing. Oh my gosh, adorable. And she was carrying this little bag that was a dog. It was like a plush dog. And then it had a glittery dog coat. Oh my gosh, a little girl after my own heart. It was so adorable. So I haven't told you guys about me and glitter, but whatever, we'll get there someday. So anyways, the thing though that happened is afterwards we were all gathered together for a little, we call it a kiddish, just schmooze and have cookies and stuff like that. So she was also she kept going up to people and talking to them, and she came over to me and she said, "I saw you up there, but I didn't know how to get up there." And I was like, oh my gosh. Amazing, right? She's 4 years old, and she noticed that, and she remembered my face, and she wanted to get to know me. Oh my gosh, adorable. And so I have to describe her because she was beyond. She had totally rumpled hair, but little girls just go like that. That's totally what she'd been doing. She had bare feet on. She wore this dress that was, oh my gosh, it was so gorgeous. It was kind of velvety at the top, and then it really poofed out and went down maybe halfway between her knees and her ankles, and it had a bow, but the bow was totally untied and just kind of flowing behind her. And so oh my gosh, it was so adorable. So I'm gonna move because I think, yeah, there you go, maybe that's a little bit better. The sun is kind of funny this morning. Okay, not funny, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh, I'm so grateful for it. So she at one point she was standing right near me. Maybe it was right after we talked, and I showed her the secret door, so maybe next week she'll come up and see me. But the thing is, I'd never seen her before, and I go really pretty regularly, and I asked some of my friends, and none of them had seen her before either. So it also kind of felt oh my gosh, I just needed to meet her. So this is what happened. She was standing next to me, and her dad was kind of nearby, and he had been talking to this older woman. And then the woman leaned over and said to the little girl, she said, "Can I tie your bow?" And the little girl looked at her and said, which was really interesting because she'd been this animated, talk. But this woman asked her if she could tie her bow, and she just was mm-mm. And then the woman went on to say, "But it's really important. I'm really afraid that you're going to trip and fall. It's dangerous. So it's really important. Let me tie your bow." Otherwise, you're going to trip and fall. It's really dangerous. Like, she said it a couple times. And this little girl, like, you could just see her shrinking a little bit. And she just really didn't want it to get tied. And she, and the woman just wouldn't stop. And the little girl, she turned at one point and she looked at me. And okay, so, like, you know, I grew up in this time where anyone who's more than, like, 3 years older than me was aunt and uncle or Mr. or Mrs. and total respect elders. And, I totally sold out this woman for this little girl. I said to her, I said, they're kind of like wings, aren't they? And her face just changed, and she was like, yeah. And I said, that's really cool, isn't it? And she said, yeah. And then her dad got down, like, just bent down and tied the bow. And it was just like, oh. But I couldn't stop wondering after that, like, when does that happen? It's like this woman was inserting fear, right? Like, little girl she'd been running around for who knows how long with her wings, with those, the untied bow, like, running behind her, flying, whatever. And she'd been fine. She hadn't tripped, she hadn't fallen. And if she had, she would have figured it out. She either would have figured out that, well, you need to fly a little faster so the wings don't, like, get under your feet. Or, I have to hold them in a different way. Or maybe, no, actually, I do want it tied so I don't even have to think about it. But she could have come up with that. You know, it's one of those things, you know, like I was talking about last time of how, for me, like, what I want to tell fear is it's only if it's, like, life-threatening, you know? Like we're talking blood and dismemberment and horrible chaos or whatever. You know, not, oh, maybe trip a little bit and, you know, stub your toe or even scrape your knee. I mean, like, yeah, those things happen. But we need those things to happen, too. That's how we grow and develop and think about different ways of doing things. And, but anyways, this whole thing of, like, when does that get inserted? Because it does. It got inserted into each one of us. Like, I think that we do all come with the life-saving kind of fear. Like, I read a book years ago. I'll think of the name of it and I'll put it in the post at some point. It was like an anthropology book, and it was talking about how kids innately do know how to save themselves. You know, like that there are cultures that do not have, you know, gates up everywhere to protect kids, and that little infants who are, like, just learning to crawl will not fall into holes. They actually, like, have what it takes to stop themselves, to know that it's danger. But that's, like, you know, blood and dismemberment. That's, like, fear. That's a legitimate fear. But when did the fear get inserted that stopped our, like, natural, like, wow, experimenting, woo, who am I, what am I doing, how am I, like, figuring out this world? And so that's what I've been thinking about ever since then. And, you know, I have this picture, whoops, what can I do? Oh, a painting. So it's a painting. How can I make you really see it? Oh, there you go. It's just a painting. It's this little girl. And actually, my parents bought it for me when I was a little girl because it reminded them of me. That's what they say. And they said, you know, like, I used to, when we would go walking, I would run ahead and I would do cartwheels and just, like, be there. And it stopped. Like, I definitely have. She's there. But that's also what I've been wondering. So, is she covered up? Is she in hiding? Is she, like, waiting? What is it? Like, where, how do those layers come? And what does it take does it just need to be, like, a little crack in it, it'll open up? Or how does that essence understand that now it's safe and we can just, like, fly and forget all of those messages of, like, bad things can happen that are, like, really doable bad things. Anyways, I'm going to keep thinking about it, and I hope that you do too. And please, if you're on YouTube, subscribe to the channel and come to the website. And I would love to hear your interactions and your thoughts. And let's just like keep thinking about it and processing and figuring out how to keep being amazing in this world. So, all right, intentions. Definitely my intention is to show up again next week. And the exercise really is just to, I don't know, kind of think back. Allow that like feeling of how that might have been to just be and do cartwheels and walk up to people and talk to them without the filters, without the overlaying fears. And we'll just keep the conversation going. All right. See you later. Have a beautiful day.